And we're going to move on to second round interviews. So if you guys can grab your second round interview sheet. This is a topic that's extremely important because this is now where you're getting the opportunity to develop as a recruiter for yourself in our business. You're actually getting the chance to sit down with a candidate that we look at as being someone that could have some potential to grow in our business, and this person could be directly underneath you. Remember, this is a management training program, right? So we're going to allow you to interview someone and then actually work with that person. But there's a strategy in order to being able to get that person excited about coming back and working with us. The guy that's going to speak on this, guys, really over the last year has really solidified himself as one of the top Costco owners in that program. Flo Smith is a guy that now, Flo, what do you have? What, 4 outside deals now? 5 outside deals? 6? What's that, 7? 7. Holy shit, man, it's crazy. So he's got 7 outside deals. He's got first and second generation outside deals, which means the people he's promoting are also promoting people out as well. He's a guy that's really been on a major tear, and he made a big sacrifice to move from San Diego, where he was just taking he was getting pitched to, and it looked like a volleyball. He's just knocking it out of the park in San Diego, and he took on a big challenge by coming up here, being in a different environment, different pool of recruiting, and has done a huge job building his business up to where it's at right now. He's going to come up here and talk to you guys about second round interviews. Let's give it up for Flosum Smith, guys.
NorCal, how you guys doing? Good. Go Dubs, right? Warriors. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I went for the Cavs, but
yeah, I'm about to say, go Dubs.
So guys, I'm very honored to be talking to you guys about second round interviews today. It's actually, the second most important thing in our business. The first important thing, as Matt just spoke about, was compliance. But second round interviews is really where you're going to develop a trait where you're able to lock in an individual who knows nothing about our business and teach them everything about our business and lock them into bringing them on your team. When I first started in the business, I started on the Best Buy side of things, so we used to do second round interviews in the store, in the retail. It wasn't in an office setting like you Costco guys are doing, but it was a type of business where if I didn't take somebody to the store and do a second round interview, I couldn't train and develop the person. Like, you guys are privileged where your owner does the second round interview in some of your cases, and you still get to train and develop an individual. So, if you guys have the handout out, I'm going to go through it real quickly with you guys. I'm not a long guy. I keep it short and simple. Kiss, don't kill, right? So, we're going to keep it like that. So, keys for the second round interview. The first thing is be prepared. Have the second round interview, have their resume, and have your second round handout. I gave you guys a copy of my second round handout that I give to my leaders and my assistant managers and stuff like that, so you guys can take that and steal it and all that cool stuff. But be prepared. Know who you're about to interview. Know the person. Talk to your owner about the person. Make sure your second round interview lines up with your owner's first round interview. Make sure it correlates, because if your owner's saying one thing in his or her first round and you're saying another thing in your second round, that person's not going to come into the business because it's 2 different stories, right? So make sure you guys are prepared. Be in control. One of my biggest pet peeves is when a leader or assistant manager is doing a second round interview and they let the interviewee take control of the conversation. You always got to be in control, because you got to remember, you're the buyer and they're the seller. Right? So you're always in control of the situation that's going down when you're doing that interview with the person. So don't let the person ever come up to you and take control, and they take control of the whole conversation. They start interviewing you rather than you interviewing them. I've been there, a lot of new leaders have been there, where you're doing the second round interview and you lost control and you actually lose that person. So be in control. Another thing is your image, right? I'm a big advocate, I would say, of image. Like, I want to make sure my leaders are sharp, my assistant managers are sharp, as well as I want to make sure we're not doing second round interviews in our DirecTV Polo in the Costco, especially if you're doing it in an office setting, Because I don't feel comfortable if Steve's in a suit and I'm in my DirecTV polo trying to hire him for a job. I need to be suited and booted. I need to be sharper than the interviewee that's coming into my office to look for an interview. And I know some of you guys are leaders, some of you guys are just starting, some of you guys would just get promoted leaders, and everyone doesn't have a nice suit, everyone doesn't, but just to the best of your ability, try to look sharp. Make sure your hair's cut, you're shaved, you don't have no tattoos showing, no earrings in. You know, little things like that make a big difference when you're trying to attract a sharper individual to our business. So make sure you guys are prepared for that. 99% of it is building relationships. If I'm doing an interview and I'm talking to somebody and they don't like me, or, you know, my personality's not there, I'm not breaking the ice per se. I see Devon's a football guy and I'm not talking about sports with him to break the ice just like a customer. That person's not going to be attracted to the business. They're going to be like, okay, I really didn't like the guy that was interviewing me, so I'm probably going to go somewhere else where I related more with the person who was doing the interview. Huge. Just like when you're talking to a customer. Everything we do in our business, guys, requires the 5 steps of the conversation, and you can take that and use it in your life as well. So intro, short story, presentation, close, rehash, same things when you're talking to a customer. Break the ice. You know, having a head start. One thing, very important thing for you guys to understand, everybody who you take out for a second round interview, they're in 2 situations, right? They're either unhappy or unemployed, right? They're one of the 2. When you guys all came for an interview, you're either unhappy with your current job or you were unemployed. And you came up and sat in for an interview and you did the second round. So when that person comes in, you want to know, like I said in the first point, is be in control. You're in control of what that person has to offer. You're in control of giving that person a position, setting them up with a 3rd round with your manager. So make sure you're always understanding that this person is either unhappy or unemployed. And a lot of times when you're doing second round interviews, you'll have the guy or the girl, and they'll come in and they'll be like, you know, I'm thinking about getting the position. They'll come off a little bit cocky or too confident, and sometimes you gotta humble them down, right? You know, a couple questions I'll ask them. I'll say, hey, so where did you go to school? And they'll tell me if they went to school or didn't. So if they say they didn't go to school, I say, oh, you didn't go to school? Does Matt know that? Does Dwayne know that? Okay, cool. I'll write it down. And then I'll say, what kind of experience do you have with marketing, working with Fortune 100 clients, Fortune 500 clients? And they might say, well, you know, I went to school for marketing, but I don't really, you know, have a degree or any type of experience and stuff like that. And I'd be like, okay, no problems, because we do train entry level. So I'm taking the control back and humbling that person down and making them understand that they're either unhappy or unemployed, right? Because there's different type of interviews that you're going to see on a day-to-day basis. You're going to see the cocky guy or the cocky girl, right? You're going to see the confident person, somebody who's excited, but they're unsure. They're like, I don't know if I'm going to do marketing, but they're excited. They're just looking for new opportunities. They like the growth and things like that. Then you're going to have the person that's nervous. They're shy. They don't say too much in the interview, right? You're going to have to get them talking a little bit. And then you're going to have the lay down. The person's like, I'm hungry. I just want to work. You know, whatever. I'll clean bathrooms. I'll do whatever. You know, they just want a job, a paycheck, right? And that's the lay down. You gotta be careful with those type of people, right? They're too thirsty, right? You don't want to be thirsty. You want to be hungry, but never thirsty, right? So watch the type of people you're interviewing. Talk to your owner about the type of people you're interviewing. Make sure you understand each different person and how to go about that second round interview. You know, one of the things that I'm going to talk a lot about, if you guys pull out this second round handout, it's the one that says Self-Made Marketing Group at the top, second round interview handout. I'm going to run through this with you guys because this is the most important part about the second round interview. And, you know, when I first started the business, I didn't really know how to explain to my friends, my family, what I did, right? It was like, what do you do? You know, I just say, you know, I go to the store, I sell DirecTV, that's basically it, right? And they'd be like, huh? You went to school to do that, right? They'll be a little confused because I didn't know how to package things correctly. And one of the things I always tell my guys is skepticism is high when education is low. So if you can't educate somebody on what you do, the opportunity you have, and you can't educate them the right way, they're going to be skeptical. Your mom, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your whoever, they're going to be skeptical on what you're doing. They're not going to want you to do it because they're not educated on the situation. They're not educated with the clients we work with. They're not educated on why you're doing what you do every day. They're not educated on why you work 6 days a week. They're not educated on why you got to go to meetings, conference calls, why you're here today. They're not educated. Some of you guys are not educated. Some of you guys, the business wasn't explained to you guys the correct way. Right? So make sure you guys understand how to deliver that message and be very transparent with what we do. Right? So I'm going to take you guys through it right now. You know, when somebody comes in for a second round, first thing I do, I hand them the handout and I give them a pen, and I have the handout in front of me. I'm going to go over the hours, right? I'm not going to touch too much on the hours right now because everybody has different hours in their office. I'll go over the pay, right? And I'll explain how the pay works in my office. I know everybody pays a little bit different, whether you're Best Buy, your Costco, you do the whole thing. But the thing that everybody should explain the same is the 4 phases of the management training program. Because our business model is pure, no matter what division you're in, no matter if you're doing DirecTV, Solar City, Cellular, it's still the same 4 phases. You start entry level and you work your way up, 6 to 8 months management training program. Some people might take a little bit longer. It all depends on how much effort they put in, right? So first thing I say to the person, I say, hey Eddie, if you're somebody who's just looking to do entry level, and that's it, this is not going to be a good fit. Like Flosum, the manager told you in the first round interview, we're looking for more of a person to fill a director role, a management role, oversee a leadership role, oversee a market, a certain number of employees, and grow within the company. So I'm going to explain them. But like I said, our clients, Costco, DirecTV, Verizon, Sam's Club, Best Buy, they won't let anybody manage their clients unless they start entry level. So anyone who first starts in my business starts off at phase 1, which is known as a client rep. Some of you guys call it account reps, whatever you call it, sales rep, whatever. We call it client rep in my office, right? Now, at this phase, what's going to happen, you're going to be paired up with a corporate trainer, somebody like myself, and we're just looking for you to have a student mentality, right? We're going to give you 110% of our effort as long as you give us 110% of your effort. If you give us 50, we'll give you 50. Is not going to be a good fit. Right off the bat, I'm negotiating the relationship that person's going to have with this company. And if the person doesn't like it, they're going to let me know. Then I'm going to tell them, we're going to teach you things like product knowledge, brand management, what our clients like, what they don't like, and we're going to make sure you understand compliance as well, just starting off as a client rep. We're also going to hold you accountable, meaning studying the material, showing up on time, asking questions. These are things we want you to do when you're in the client rep. We know at first it's going to be a little tough. We want to make sure you understand the law of averages. Out of 100 people we talk to, Matt, we're probably only going to close 1, right? And the reason why is because some people are happy with what they have. They're not interested. They don't want to talk. They might be busy. There's a bunch of variables that might come into play when you first start in our business. And this is what we're going to teach you at phase 1. And the reason why you have to go through this is because we want to make sure you understand exactly what your employees are going to be doing one day so you can relate to them. And then I'm talking about qualifications as far as phase 1. So in my office, the qualifications are 7 to 8 acquisitions consistently for 2 weeks in a row. So, and it's different wording, right? I don't call it apps, I say acquisitions. Just different wording to attract a sharper individual to my business. That's all it is. Right? So 7 to 8 acquisitions for 2 weeks in a row consistently. Average time you'll spend in phase 1 is anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. Some people might take a little bit longer, and some people might do it in a shorter time span. It all depends on how much effort you put in. So I'm letting that person know the longer they're going to stay in phase 1 depends on them, how much effort they put in. Some people do it in 2 weeks, some people take a little bit longer. How much studying, stuff like that. Then I tell them, once you complete phase 1, you go to phase 2, which is our corporate trainer phase. So some of you guys call it leaders, supervisors, whatever it might be in your office. We call it corporate trainer. And I let them know at a corporate trainer phase, this is really where your management training opportunity begins. This is where we see who's going to be our next director of operations, who's not going to be our next director of operations. This is where some people excel, this is where some people hit a brick road. And the reason why is because in phase one, you were working with the corporate trainer. Somebody was really pushing you. It was like riding a bike with having the training wheels. Now we're letting you ride by yourself, right? And what we look for in phase two as a corporate trainer, we want you to learn how to do second round interviews, right? Exactly what I'm doing with you now. You're going to have to learn this. As well as we look for you to teach, train, and develop 2 to 3 other healthy corporate trainers. And what I mean by healthy is somebody who comes in, they start at phase one, and you get them to phase two. If you just train a bunch of people and they stay in phase one, they're not healthy because they're not growing. Kind of understand where I'm coming from? They're like, yes, we understand. Cool. And we also look for you and your team to do 25 acquisitions consistently as a team. So let's say, for instance, you do 10, another person on your team does 10, another person on your team does 5, or you do 10 and 3 people do 5. That's 25. So we look for that on a consistent basis, 2 weeks out of a month. Then I go into the fact while I'm explaining phase two. You know, we have road trip opportunities within our company. We're one of many different offices that does this direct TV and Costco management training program. I'm in the Costco program, so if you're in Best Buy, same thing, vice versa. So direct TV and Costco management training program. There's over 400 different Costcos that we work with. So if you're doing a big job here in the Bay Area, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you on a road trip, and I'm going to see how you can adapt. I'm going to see, are you the type of person that says, hey, you know, I can only talk to people in the Bay Area? Or are you the type of person that says, I can talk to people no matter where I go as long as I know what I'm talking about? Right? So I'm gauging that person on their ways to adapt, how comfortable they are with seeing different people, different type of demographics, the whole 9 yards. Then I'm going to tell them corporate trainer is also the longest phase in our whole management training program. It can take anywhere from 7 to 14 weeks, or it can take a longer time. It all depends on the person, how quickly they hit these qualifications. Now, I also tell them, with our company, one of the things that really attracted me to the business, it's 0% seniority. So it doesn't matter if I came in and Steve trained me. If I make it to corporate trainer and I hit qualifications before Steve, I'll get promoted before Steve. Right? I let them know we're different than corporate America. We don't look at, hey, this person's been here for this amount of time, so they got to get promoted before you get your situation. So I'm gauging the person while I'm doing the second round interview. I also go into assistant director, phase 3. Some people call it assistant manager. I call it assistant director. I stole it from Zach back there. And, you know, I let them know as an assistant director, this is where you get to shadow the owner a little bit more. You get to learn the back end, how to do conference calls, run meetings, how to make sure the market's running efficiently, how to make sure everything's moving real smoothly within the office. I tell them assistant director is where the chatter also begins. It's where you know you're about to be the next director of operations, and I know you're about to be the next director of operations. Because in phase 1, you showed us you were really good at the marketing, the sales, the customer service, and being compliant. In phase 2, you showed us you can train, teach, and develop other people. Now in phase 3, your time to spend more time with me. So we go over that, and then we flip over to the back. And then I go over phase 4, which is our director of operations phase. And you know, I tell them this is where you get to run the show. As a director of operations, you make around $205 an install, and that comes into your office. Also, newer director of operations in our company make anywhere from 70 to 100K. More experienced make over 100K. I gauge them on all those factors. I also let them know, besides the money though, the most important part is to continue to give other people the opportunity to grow. I want to make sure they understand that, because we're in an opportunity-based business, right? So if you're not giving other people, whether you're a leader, whether you're an assistant manager, or whether you're an owner, giving other people the opportunity to grow, there's no opportunity and your business goes down. Right? So I want them to gauge that. I said the biggest things we're working with the clients we work with is consistency. Like, for instance, just if you go, my favorite analogy to use is just if you go to McDonald's here in the Bay, or you go to McDonald's in New York, you're going to find a Big Mac, right? Because they're consistent. Same thing with our clients. If they have us marketing a certain product in one location, they want to make sure that's available no matter where they go. So I make sure they understand the consistency approach that we have for our clients. Now, I also ask them three key questions. First I say, do you guys have any questions for me? They ask me a question if they do. If they don't, I ask them 3 questions. The first question is always, out of all the phases I described to you, which one do you feel will be the most challenging? I just want to know what they're thinking. So they might tell me corporate trainer. Why? Because I never trained people before. Or they might tell me phase 1 because it's something new, right? Or they might tell me phase 4 because I never had that much responsibility. Now I tell them, which one do you feel you'll be able to excel at the most? Then they tell me which one they feel they'll be able to do the best at. And I want them to elaborate. I'm not looking for short answers. I'll make them elaborate by asking them why. Right? Always ask why when they give you an answer. And then I go into the last question. It's pretty simple. I said, so out of all the interviews we're constructing today, why do you feel we should hire you for the position? Never make the person in the second round interview feel like they have the position. I don't care if they're the sharpest guy in the world or the sharpest girl. I never want them to feel like they already have the position. I want them to work for the position. Because once again, I'm the buyer, they're the seller. Now, they'll sell me on why they feel they should have the position, and then I have 2 options to make, right? I can either set up a 3rd round interview with the owner, or I'll tell them we'll call them. If I like them, I'll set up a 3rd round. If I don't, I'll tell them we'll call them. Now, let's say I do like them. So I'll say, out of 2 to 3 individuals that we're looking to bring on today, we definitely feel that you're a really sharp individual. After, talking to you, looking over your resume, I'm definitely going to set you up with a 3rd round interview with Eddie, right? And I'll make them feel good about themselves. If I don't like them, I'll say, hey, you know what, we're only looking to fill 2 to 3 positions right now. I'll have Eddie give you a call if he feels that if you're a good fit for the company. If he doesn't give you a call, that means we decided to go in a different direction. I'm going to leave it just like that. So that's basically the rundown of the 2nd round interview. But guys, 2nd round interview, is very important to our business. It's an important factor, and I know a lot of you Costco guys, it's something new to you, but you gotta be asking your owner to do the 2nd round interviews. You gotta be hungry to do the 2nd round interviews. You gotta be a squeaky wheel within the office. Because if I have 3 leaders in my office and only 1 is asking me to do 2nd round interviews, that's the one that's going to train all the people. That's the one that's going to build their team faster. That's the one that's going to get to ownership faster. Right? So you got to ask your own. You should be doing 2nd round interviews at least 3 times a week. Right? You should. And if you're a leader right now and you're not doing 2nd round interviews, you got to learn. And the first step is starting to shadow your owner, being in the office more, being more hungry for the opportunity. Right now when I look at our business in a nutshell, the leaders we had back in the day were more hungry to learn more. They came to the office, when they didn't have to. They sat in interviews, 2nd round interviews, to learn how to do it. They studied the paper so they could start doing it. Because like I said, I come from the old school business. If we didn't do the 2nd round, we didn't train. If you don't train, you're not growing. Right? So make sure you guys are focused on doing 2nd round interviews. Make sure you guys are engaged in the business. You want to act as if you're already the owner, and you want to start running the office within the office. The owner's just there to pay the bills and keep the lights on and provide you with the opportunity. But we can take you to the water, but we can't help you drink. You got to start doing 2nd round interviews. I can't stress it enough. But yeah, guys, that's basically all I got for you guys. Thank you.